Culture in Iran, Post-Islamic Revolution. Ryman, Alyssa, and Sarah.
Post-revolution Persian art was always known for their intricate rugs and geometric mosaics, as well as their pottery, calligraphy, and painting. But after the revolution, Persian art became increasingly more political due to tensions between Iran and the US. Many blamed the US involvement in their country for the problems that they faced. And in the first drawing, Saddam Hussein is shown being controlled by the US, Soviets, and Jews, while a fist depicting the symbol of Iran punches a dog. The art shows that Iran will remain victorious if they fight together against the puppet that is Saddam Hussein. The terror is depicted as an outside force rather than a inside force that, like the people in Iran or the government. Similarly, the second picture depicts the US as the enemy that they should come together to defeat. The text says that any weapon, whether it is a pen or gun, should not be employed against one another. Instead, it should be aimed directly at the enemies of humanity. On top of them, the government of the United States. This animosity is further detailed when the arrow breaks the head of the president at the time, Jimmy Carter. The poster is a call to all liberation groups to come together to drive the evil out of Iran, as well as to empower foreign followers of Islam to do the same. And then there's post-revolution fashion. Before the revolution, they were allowed to wear whatever the hell they wanted. They could wear Western clothing as well as choose to wear their hijab. However, after the Islamic Revolution, they had to dress with decency. Women were to cover their hair completely, while men had to keep their facial hair or just not shave. People still bought clothes that weren't considered proper, but they were usually worn inside. They had to wear what you want behind doors policy for the most part. People also paid guards to look the other way during parties and gatherings so that they could wear whatever they want. Today, many push their headscarves back as far as possible to see what they can get away with, as well as to show resistance to the law. Because of decency laws, swimming or bathing together is not allowed, so people often work around by taking boats out and swimming away from the eyes of others.
Okay, so post-revolution, pop music was considered outrageous since it was branded as Western and un-Islamic and so on. So basically any music that was joyous and happy wasn't welcomed. Traditional music became the main genre alongside war hymns and religious music. Many pop artists immigrated to LA eventually, and soon enough, the LA music style became popular with the young generation. And along with that came the new wave of television and video. Um, Also, speaking of television and video, um, movies also became a big thing in Iran. So after the revolution, the cinema was labeled as supposedly only for like pop propaganda and education. But in 1982, a film festival and a cinema foundation stepped in, and they were able to fix the mess that the cinema was in. And the following year after that, the government began to support this and thus followed a new generation of movies focusing on a much wider variety of topics rather than just propaganda and education. So some of the popular movies included Davinda, I can't pronounce it correctly, but that was the first post-revolution movie to attract global attention, and it was about a boy who decides to compete to earn his classmates' respect. There was also Bashu the Little Stranger, and that was about a boy whose parents were killed in World War II and is raised by a middle-aged woman. And lastly, The Time of Love, that was in 1990, and that was banned in Iran actually, and it included three stories, same characters but different endings.
Okay, and then the This is food from post-Iranian Revolution, and so during post and pre, the most often eaten foods in Iranian cuisine include rice, herbs, many cheeses, flatbreads, and different types of meats, such as poultry, beef, lamb, and fish. And so, because there were so many delicacies in Iran, I chose the top three dishes. The first one on the left is, excuse my butchering, but koresht e fisenjan. I don't know too well, but it was very popular, must-have in wedding dishes, traditionally made with duck, but it can also be made with chicken or lamb. The next one was zereshk polo, which is also served during weddings and other occasions. This was served with red berries laid on top of white and saffron rice with a chicken breast. The final dish is called koresht e gourmet sabzi, and it is served during festival occasions and family meals. It was usually made with many spices, potatoes, and beans, and also rice. All right, family life after the revolution was very different. One of the biggest changes in life after the Iranian Revolution was women's appearances, as said before, and their clothing, especially head garments, were now required, no matter what age they were. After revolution, many people still maintained their personal lifestyles at home. During small private social gatherings, Iranian dress codes were not followed. People were drinking, listening to Western music, which was banned, and participated in publicly prohibited activities. And then these are resources if you click the links. And yeah, this was post-Iranian culture.